Hello, and this one's going to be kind of a little bit of a rant or diatribe about freedom, I suppose. Uh, I was watching Imperium Cast, the new podcast Joel Davis is doing on his channel, which I'd highly recommend, by the way. The first episode was really good and arguably helped inspire this video anyway. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about freedom, kind of my own thoughts on it, and I'm just kind of cutting right in, if you will. I'd say that, one of the things that perhaps us on the so-called right, if you will, uh, at least in the liberal, like, ontology sense, the basic uh, right-wing position of, like, kind of disassociating, or this kind of reactionary answer towards um, you know, the culture vacuum around us, or lack of, if you will, and just these kind of free desire, free flowing, be who you are kind of sentiment, which obviously there's something to it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people uh, so gravitated towards it. So many of our youth, including myself, would say that just having this freedom of having free flowing desire, and just be whoever you want to be. Um, but I don't think most men actually resonate with that. And I know I say, like, kind of just associate it with man, because 99% of my audience is going to be male anyway. But obviously, as a male, this is simply my perspective. I think it's not really given enough credit how much what truly makes these characteristics that we just throw around for each other. Your body is kind of like this avatar of all these different, if you want to be this kind of like scientific sort of examples. You have testosterone and estrogen, and testosterone actually, it's kind of this, testosterone really, especially like with bodybuilders and stuff, it really has this, there's this kind of this duality and like this fatalism of, like, as you get this godlike physique, or push the boundaries of your own personal godlike physique, like, you're now pushing beyond what is the limitations of your own body. It doesn't matter if it's your steroid use or something is doesn't even look better than someone who's like just natural. Who gives a shit? It's about you pushing your own boundaries, and obviously when you go beyond that kind of framework, you have these kind of consequences. We see it with like the droopy nipples and hair loss, accelerated hair loss, and stuff like that. And testosterone in general just tends to burn men out sooner than women. That's why women have a higher life expectancy. And things like these matter in our politics, and we're not allowed to talk about that really right now, and it's kind of a shame, because ultimately it's gonna get in the way of the dialogue we're trying to have, or trying to sort of progress. I know that term kind of has a dirty meaning these days, but sometimes it's just appropriate to use. But I think that Imperium Cast episode, and what I'm trying to get at is that, like, kind of the right wing position, the libertarian ethos of like freedom to do what you want. We see that all the time in these kind of spheres as well. And yeah, that's all well and dandy, but I think whether they actually truly live that perspective out or not, I kind of tend to believe that they don't. They just, it's just this kind of idea, this abstract concept that this will be the most utility for society, but did they actually practice this kind of, free-flowing desire, libertarian ethos? Absolutely not. I don't think so at all. I certainly don't. And, when you try to be something like a good brother or a good son or a good boyfriend or husband, a father, these roles that really are bestowed upon you, whether you're, really asking for it or not, as you kind of, if you want to take a Deleuzian look at it, and, you kind of, and, the body without organs, but, you build these kind of, relationships, and as obviously as you get older, they become more superficial, but they kind of have that return back to that primal love that goes beyond just this kind of, I think it goes beyond just power structures and all that. And love is one of the few things that I've found personally in life that actually can overcome these situations we find ourselves in all the time. And so to just have, just say, oh, I'm for freedom, freedom for you to just be, whatever. That could be a cockroach. That could be, just the lowest life form on the planet. And I think we should look at each other with a higher degree of respect. And obviously that has to come within as well. And, the only thing that really all of these ideologies under this kind of liberal world order, this liberal system that we have of kind of, we have all these things that we want to disassociate with. You want to disassociate from the evil right-wing racist. You want to disassociate from the globo-homo fucking weird story time, gender construct, whatever the case may be, ideologue. But, none of these things actually, for me personally, ever enriched me in any kind of sense. They all were kind of about this like free flowing of desires, and it's just common sense why you should just want that for your fellow man. But, many times it's this kind of lack of actually caring for one another and actually trying to look out for your fellow brother. And I think in future videos I'm gonna kind of call it this kind of brotherhood politics, if you will, where men need to start looking out for each other. We need to get real about this social situation that we're just quietly drug overdosing or suiciding ourselves in the background as the world turns. And we all kind of recognize each other and recognize this struggle within. And I think that kind of resonates with the kind of minoritarian cultures you see. And, that's the reality of it. We need to look out for each other more. And these political ideologues always grift from us. They always cheat us. We never get the representation that we deserve under this system. And so, I want to help build ideologies, as I kind of pointed out in my Scarecrows video. They're kind of these engines, these, it's kind of like this car salesman. Ideology really is commodified under this, capitalist structure, if you will. Where like ideologies are these modes against, the liberal equilibrium, and, they have these kind of interesting and gravitating ideas, especially towards, people in our age group. It's kind of, more idea driven, more kind of has that more spirit and less pragmatic attitude, that, quite literal like energy to us. And I think we need to realize that whatever we think we're getting under liberalism just isn't sufficient for us. These ideologies never really amount to anything. In fact, most of them seem to just try to, dumb down and commodify and industrialize the message against the actual order in and of itself. Controlled opposition, it's been a reoccurring theme on our channel, and yeah, I think just from personal experience in general, anything that's been, sort of worth sustaining or preserving in this kind of conservative sense is ultimately to, walk away from the bounds of freedom. Freedom has this paradox of, like, you have the freedom to kind of choose your discipline, and once you choose that discipline, you very much restrict and defer from a lot of things. You have this deferral process, and I think one of the problems with some of the more out there on the right kind of thinkers is we go through this deferral process, but nothing else like happens after that. It's just fuck liberalism and my freedom, and then that's it. Like, there's really nothing underneath it. And I think we should actually care about each other in a much more real sense than just writing about it all the time like the bourgeois class has done for hundreds of years now. And as we look at the pandemic, it's obvious to anyone that kind of understands like these insecure power structures as they were from kind of the mold bug takes, that ultimately things like the pandemic are just going to be squeezed out for creating more leftists, quite literally, more resentful people that further really destroys any kind of hope of us sort of rallying together around what's actually beautiful about life. And many times that actually comes at the expense of freedom. If you're constantly rooted in this free-flowing kind of just whatever happens passively coming over you, you never actually will ground yourself in anything worth truly living for, in my opinion. A lot of people don't have any kind of relationship to their soil. I personally have a lot of relatives and friends that I can, go around my hometown and visit and see and reminisce about, because I kind of have this, holistic story, and that's definitely come at the expense of, tons of novel experiences that other people, might enjoy personally, but I prefer being more rooted towards these kind of connections that I have towards my family and my brothers. And I think people should really look for a world view more grounded than that, than just trying to take on the world in this kind of as it comes. Nothing's trying to mold any kind of actual moral authority for yourself is like just this bad and uppity thing, when actually establishing it can actually show you what's actually worth, creative in an actual like beautiful sense, instead of just whatever. I'm not making this video because it's just me out there on an island by myself. I'm hoping that other people see it and can understand the same things I'm trying to express and the intentionalities of it, and the same kind of mood and struggle and thoughts of our time in history right now. That's what it's about, to me at least. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. Thanks for watching.